Stat 201.
Dimensions has a somewhat looser feel to it.
Yeah, it's got an almost improvisational tone.
Hey, Mohammed, how are you doing? Good to have you here. Yes, we are back. And so I clicked the previously on Stat 201 opening, and I was like, oh, darn, I want the Rick and Morty. So we got the Rick and Morty today. We're here with University of Tennessee. So are you working on 320 right now, Mohammed? Which one are you working on? What questions do you have? Oh, did someone put something in weekly video suggestion? Oh, good idea. That's from this morning. Let me tag him in the chat right there. So, Mohammed, feel free to ask questions. Let's see. There's my GoXR mixer. And let me hop back over to these chats. So, let's do some 320. Which 320 thing are you working on, Mohammed? And what were you wondering? So, let's bring up our studio. So, I think you covered all of question one. Yeah, assignment. Have I covered all of assignment one? I've covered a lot of it. So, I've covered a lot of assignment one. Assignment 1, BAS 320 update. We could do the subset thing. Have you done the subset yet, Mohammed? Have you done the subset part of the question yet? We could talk over question 7, which has you subset. I think that one gives a lot. No, you haven't done it yet. Would you like to do that? Shall we do that? Your call. You're here, Mohammed. Your call. You could say no, Brian. Question number 2, and I'd say okay. Let's do question 2. These are like your office hours. Absolutely. Well, then you got it. Let's do this. So create a subset called sub. So when you see this right here, what I'm gonna do is my global environment always loads up with stuff. Let's remove that stuff. One thing you might want to do sometimes is make sure your code can run. And so what I'm gonna do to do that is I'm gonna click this arrow right here, this down arrow of sorts, and this runs all chunks above. Now the good part about this is it's gonna load in the alumni data frame. So we're gonna make a subset of the alumni data frame. And so by running all chunks above, it loaded in the parts that have alumni data frame load in. So does that make sense right there, Mohammed? That this arrow right here loads all chunks above. This plays the current chunk, and this is the chunk options. Chunks are where we do code. You can see the different colors. Yep. And so this is the name of the chunk. You can also navigate around to that chunk right there, and that's the chunk we were in by clicking here. Just some kind of starter things we should maybe know about how R is laid out. Okay. Now that we have alumni loaded in the brain of R, we should look. Okay, I'm going to make a subset of alumni, and it's going to be called sub. So once I see this, and it says create something, and I'm going to create it right here so we can read the question. I'm going to insert a chunk. So I'm going here to make a chunk so I can actually work on it while reading the question. Let's take a look. So this creates the chunk right here, and then it says create something. So Mohammed, we need your help in the chat right here. How do we store into an object called sub? How do we store into an object called sub? How in the world do we do this? We store into an object called sub for 100 office hour points. You're the one here right now. And if anyone else joins in, put those questions in the chat, put them on the Discord, and we can take any and all questions. How do we store in an object called sub? Boom. That's the first thing we're doing right there. And you could just check to see if it works with that. 5 is now stored in sub. Don't do that yet. I mean, it just shows it works. So what do we want to do is we want to create a subset. So you notice right here, you get the options for subset. With the options for subset, it's going to be what are we subsetting first? So the first thing in subset is what are we subsetting? So it says create a subset of alumni, and technically alumni should be this right here. So that's alumni. And you know what I'm going to do? Oh, I need to put this on our soundboard. Little bits. So it's a Rick and Morty quote, if anyone knows, or reference rather. Well, quote and reference. Anyways. So hair's getting so long. Put it on your ear. Then it doesn't fall forward. There we go. That works. So my subset is now actually what? I want us to think for a moment what the code ran and did. My subset is what right now? My subset is just my what? Does it make sense that my subset is not really a subset? My subset's not really a subset. I said make a subset called sub of alumni, and I didn't tell it to do any. It's the whole data frame right now, Mohammed. Does that make sense? It's the whole data frame. So this is not the question yet, but I'm just making sure the code works. When you code, make sure to do it in parts. Don't write the whole thing out at once and then it won't work. And you'll be like, well, there might be 5 errors in your code. Right now, my code runs, but it only takes a subset of the whole subset. So if you can confirm that over here by seeing this is the whole subset and the subset is the whole subset. So, or this is the whole data frame and this is the whole subset, which is the whole data frame. So we haven't taken a subset yet, but we've used this subset function. Now, when you use subset, you need conditions, and conditions are the second argument. Since it's the second argument, what am I going to write to get to the second argument? What am I going to write to get to the second argument of the subset function? I'm in the subset function right now within the parentheses. What am I going to write to get to the second argument? Boom, Mohammed, you're at 200 office hour points. Just get it. Mohammed, I'm going to let you get to 1,000 this week. Tell people to come to office hours. Brian's very generous with points during office hours. So keep practicing right here. We know that we hit a comma to get to the second argument. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to write a condition. I have changed arguments. Now it's doing a different thing. The first thing it wants is data frame, and then it wants conditions. So now I'm in the condition argument. So the first argument was, what are we subsetting? We're subsetting the data frame. And the second argument is, oh, you're awesome, Mohammed. The second argument is conditions, which how are we subsetting this? So let's go here and start writing conditions. So we want to take and use only people who have a degree grad year who are between 1992 to 1998. Now, there's probably ways to write it out all at once, but I'm going to do it the following way. Their degree grad year is greater than or equal to 1992. Now, here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this code. Look at that. Wow, did you see this? Wow. It's, wait. Oh, you can't hear it. Soundboard's got to be turned on. Got to save the setting. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to save my profile now. Yeah, I usually want my samples playing through. So go here. Where's save profile? Create new profile, save active profile, overwrite current profile. Okay, from now on, the soundboard will play by default unless I turn it off. So, all that work. And so now we have people who graduated after 1990, on or after 1992 from our data frame. So here's where people get confused. This is where the errors start happening, is people put a comma here. If I put a comma, I'm changing what argument I'm in. We still want to do conditions. We don't want to change our argument. We're still telling it conditions. If you put a comma, you leave the conditions argument. So you won't be doing conditions anymore, but we have more conditions. So how do you add more conditions? You write and. So now if you notice, it's subindents. That's the key thing to notice is the subindent. You're within conditions still. This was the first argument. This is the second argument. And now I'm within the second argument. Boom, right there. And Mohammed, we're just going to make sure you get to 1,000 a day, 100 points, following along. Less than or equal to, because I know I'm kind of giving away some answers here, but if you're following along, if you're practicing, it's good. And if you're learning how to code, it's good too. Because what I'm going to do, you know what I'm going to do right now. I wrote one more thing. I'm going to run my code and I'm going to watch right there. And it got smaller, which is a good sign. That means I'm subsetting even further. I'm creating a smaller subset. I'm doing this step by step. I'm not going to write the whole thing. I'm going to make sure each condition runs and that it works. The next thing we have right here is that they're, that they have donated. So we're going to grab this and we're going to say and, because we want and they have donated, because there should be an and they have donated. So let's go here and you hit the enter after the and it will subindent. So we say that their lifetime gift is what? If they've donated, what would their lifetime gift be? If they have donated, their lifetime gift would be what amount? You're like, wait, it'd be $100? No, it wouldn't be 100. What amount would it not be? So if they have donated their lifetime gift to UT, which is what that acronym stands for, lifetime gift to UT, if they have donated, then their lifetime gift to UT would be what? If they have donated, I might have to give the answer. I don't know how many people are watching, but if they have donated, then they would have donated more than this. Bingo, it would not be 0. And there's lots of ways to write this. You could do is not 0, which is the same thing as greater than 0. You can't donate negative. Like if you could donate negative money, then we should do like not 0. But we could just do greater than 0. You would not want to do greater than or equal to 0. This actually should not reduce the subset. Can I do, might retype that, equals slash. This right here would not be the answer because watch the subset. it doesn't subset it. But this right here, watch the subset, greater than 0, it does subset it. So you can do not equal to 0, and you should get the same subset. So watch my subset right there, and let's do not 0. So that's not 0, and the subset should be the same, and it is the same. So it works because you can't donate negative money. If that existed, then we'd want to do greater than 0. But hopefully you understand the concept right there. My first time I did it, I did greater than 0, and that works. Yep, perfect, exactly. And so you can say not 0, someone who has not donated 0, which since all numbers are positive, we're good. It works in this example. Let's do another condition. This is the tough one. And the good thing is we're learning logicals right here also. We're learning not equal to, less than, greater than. It's kind of a way to learn logicals. We want people who have degrees contained in. You know what I might do? I might even update this today and say contained in either, to give a hint. You can do this right here. You can put the bold around it. This will make it bold in a Word document. So contained in. So when you hear contained in, you should think %in%. Let's not worry about typing out degree 1 major. Let's copy paste it down here and write contained in. Now you say, wait a minute, Brian, that does not say contained in. It says %in%. And %in% asks if something is contained in something else, like is 2 contained in the vector 3, 4 or 4, 5. And the answer would be no, it is not. Hey, will this be recorded? Yes, it'll 100% be recorded. Yeah, we can do that next, Gabe, right there. Gabe, do you want to do question 7? Choose one of them first, and we'll do one of those first, Gabe. We're right about done with this one right here, so we can hop over to doing some 474. Gabe, pick your favorite one you want me to do, and we'll work on that next. And this is recorded, so if you do have to go somewhere, you can come back and watch it later, and I'll make sure we work your question, Gabe. Thank you for swinging by, Gabe. 100 extra office hours points. No, you're not interrupting at all. Put those comments in the chat because that's what it's here for. If you're watching right now and you have a question, ask away, because then I'll put it in. You got it, and then people can watch it, and they'll be like, some people, Gabe, that's another extra 100 bonus points. I want you to know that someone is watching this later, and they're like, Gabe, thank you so much for asking about question 7. Gabe, thank you. So Gabe, you got it. Let's look right here, degree major contained in, and I'm not going to try typing this out. I'm going to take this right here, I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to do a vector. How do I start creating a vector? I want to see if these degree majors are contained in a certain vector. How do I start typing out that vector, Mohammed or Gabe, for 100 extra bonus office hour points? How do I start typing out that vector? How do I start creating a vector? Because I'm going to say, is the degree major contained in a vector of this? How do I start by typing out a vector? How do I start creating a vector of things that are connected together? The answer is C, and then open it up. Yes, Gabe, 100 extra office hour points. We do the C and we open it up. I'm going to put these words inside of here, or is not one of them. Now watch this. You ready to see some magic? I got to raise up the screen a bit. I'm going to double click and I'm going to do quote. I'm going to double click and I'm going to do quote. I'm going to double click and I'm going to do quote right there. Exactly. And so we can use the C, which vectorizes things. And so exactly, oh, say V into C? Well, that will create the object V contained inside. So that will create, and you can do right arrow. You can do right arrows. I don't use right arrows much. That's a graphical error. Don't. Object V not found. Oh, because the object V does not exist. You can save 5 into C. There we go. Oh, wait. Yeah, so what, because if we're saving V into the empty vector, usually you would save into V the object of like this right here. So usually we use that format. So usually I use left arrow a lot. You can use right arrow. So I think my brain kind of broke on the left right arrow thing. So it makes more, if you use the left arrow, then you're left arrowing, and you store an empty vector, as Mohammed's pointing out right there. So that stores the empty vector of nothing. There's nothing contained in that vector. It doesn't even have any positions. So the vector V is a null vector. It has nothing in it. There's no positions. So if there was NA in it, then the first position would be missingness. So now you see the vector has the first position as missingness, but if you store the empty vector, it's a vector with nothing in it. It has nothing in it. Not nothing, missingness, nothing. It has nothing, nothing. How do I know that? Null. Does that make sense? That's really confusing. If I have NA, that means there is a position that has nothing in it. Like positions 1 and 3 have nothing in this vector. And you can see it right here. positions 1 and 3. 1 has nothing, as in missingness. 5 exists in position 2. 3 has nothing in its position. The position is missing. You can see how I created it right here. So if I store nothing at all into this, not like nothing in a position, you see this right here and it's null, it's empty. That means there's not even positions in it. There is no positions right there. And we might be able to try, well, I guess maybe we'll do this. This might work. What if I do v times 8, numeric 0? That means the return of this is a numeric vector with no positions in it. So numeric 0 is a numeric vector of length 0. You can get character 0 and stuff like that. Probably if we could do as.character. And so as.character on this should do that. And I know we're doing like weird, crazy things. But if we do the v return, it says character 0. So that's a character vector returned of length 0. So it's telling you this code right here returned a character vector that has length 0. And if you look, the character vector is empty. It probably is a null object. Let's see, is null v? And the answer is false. It's not null. I'm even learning stuff. There's very like specifics about this, but you know what? With all that talk, you might be saying, Brian, what about that subset? We got that subset. We've done it. But we have to do one more thing with that subset, and then we'll do question 7474. We have to take only certain columns. So we need a new what now? If we're taking only certain columns, we need a new something now. If we're taking only certain columns, we need a certain something now. Like, okay, we want certain columns, so we need a new, you know, once I hit comma, argument. If we want to take certain columns, that's not a condition. You might say, well, isn't that a condition? It might sound like it a little bit, but it's it's actually selecting certain columns. So we go here to select, and if you notice, it's going to be that purple pink color, whatever that color is, and that's an argument within. These right here are functions with the color they have, and this is an argument. So we're going to go to select. We are not going to type these out, but there's going to be an issue when we copy these in. We're going to vectorize them by putting the C, and then we're going to do this. And now we do have an issue. These are not strings. You can tell by the colors. And just some reason when you copy, whoops, delete a wrong letter there. When you copy quotes, they don't copy correctly. Slows you down a little bit here. One reason why I'm not typing them out myself is because I will make an error typing them. I don't know how to type. But now that I've deleted the bad quotes, we can put the good quotes on here. And you'll notice it's changing color to green. When it changes colors to green, that means it's a character. Notice how this is numeric. These are objects, and these are characters. This is also code right here for %i and %. There's a logical code. Notice the small, subtle differences in the colors, and it'll direct you to if something is a character, a number, an object. We've got a function right here. So that's a function right here, which ends right here. Another cool trick you can do is you can see where things open and close by clicking the end of a parentheses. So if you want to see, did I close this? I did. I can click right there. I closed that there, and I closed this here. You want to make sure you close your functions, because if you don't, let's see the error. If you don't close your function, you'll get this down here. Oh, it just got completely mad. Did it run? How did that run? Was it smart enough to run? Oh, it's just running the select. Cool. Yeah, that's not running correctly right there. So let's highlight everything, and there. That's the error I wanted to get. This is a very common error down here where you have the plus icon. This means that R is awaiting your input. So the code was not closed at the end of it, and R is like, and what? That's what it's asking right there at that plus. It's like, tell me more. You have two options here. You can tell R more, but you'd also need to correct your code up here. So by hitting enter down here, I'm actually going to append onto it that, and it runs. But usually what I do when I get this error, and I'm hitting up to review my code, I usually, when I get this error, just hit escape. So I usually just escape out of it, and then I fix this code up here and rerun that code with the proper close on it. So that's a common error when you see the plus at the bottom, and I've literally seen someone go like a whole class where they're just appending code down here, and then I'll be like, oh, you've been appending code this whole class onto code, and they'll just keep running code. Like, let's see here. Will that happen if I do this? No, it broke. You'll hit an error sometimes. So that also happens. You'll hit an error and it'll break the code, and then it'll get you out of the loop. So we've done it. We've created our subset From here, we have to use the drop levels function. Let me show that one real quick, because I haven't talked about that one in class yet. Okay, so the drop levels, let's call this drop levels, and let's call this subset. So with the drop levels right here, what is drop levels? It removes certain levels. So what you want to do is you want to go to the levels vector of alumni, $. Oh, no, we're going to sub. What am I doing? I was like, that has too many variables. And we're going to major. And notice how we have all these majors: zoologies, women's studies, wildlife and fisheries, vocational home economics education. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this same thing right here and store into it drop levels. Notice how we're using the autocomplete here. You only have to type 3 letters, but you might get too many things. So sometimes I'll type a little bit more to make sure I get what I want. I'm going to copy in where we have sub $degree major. And what will this do? This will save into the levels right there. So what drop levels does is it removes out any levels that have 0. We can view the levels having 0 by doing the following. Let's make a table of all of these levels. I'm going to do it down here because it's throwaway code. Here's all the majors we just don't want to see. They don't exist. So when you use drop levels, oh, no worries, Gabe. I have this code currently, subset education, ACT, 32% in percent. Ignore that. No, that's all right. Let me grab this. Let me grab that code right here. It looks like you're pretty close. That looks pretty good right there. Let's hop over to doing the 474 version of this using subset. And let's do this right here. Is it homework? Oh, wait. Here it is right here. Okay, let's do some 474 version of this. You ready? Let's go down. Let's click right here. Finish this problem. Oh, no. You're fine. We did a lot of the 320 problem right there. And I think that's a really good start to it. Does question 7 not have a chunk? Question 7. Oh, is it called question 8? Rename that. There we go. Error. Yeah, there's errors, happens. So create a subset called sub of students whose ACT scores is at least 32, are the youngest child or the only child in the family. Keep only the columns ACT, blah, 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 blah. You'll work with the subset data for the remainder of this problem. Print this subset to the screen, then verify it has this, printing it to the screen right here. And that's just the very end of it right here. So when I think this is due on Tuesday, your 474 is due on Tuesday, and BAS 320, you might even move all the due dates for 320 to Thursday. And if you notice, their assignments are pretty similar for 320 and 474. It's because this is the learning how to code assignments. So let's do another subset right here. What you have, Gabe, is an amazing start. So, this whole first part of the video is on subsetting. So here's what I would do, Gabe. And I think the comma went away somehow. And don't worry, you might have coded it this way. I'm going to do what we did with our code in the previous one. This doesn't look wrong yet. It doesn't look wrong. I'm running all my code above here, and we should see the education. So I ran all the code above, which loaded in the data frames. So ACT is greater than this. Family, %. This might work. Does it not? Verify that it has what? 13 and 5? Oh, so the only thing you're missing right now is it has 5 columns, right? So the only part of your code you're missing, which great job. If you were watching along with what I just did, were you able to figure out what we were doing while I was doing the previous problem? If so, awesome. Because you have here, you're taking a subset of the education data frame. And once you get here, you don't have to, I often say don't do this because you're actually inside of the education data frame. So we don't usually do that right here. We already have access to the variables without doing the education $. So now we're going to take we're going to go to ACT greater than or equal to 32. And then we don't hit comma yet, because if we hit a comma, we will be going to a new condition. So I'm going to go right here to the end, and I'm going to do a comma now because I want to leave the conditions. And the only thing you're missing, Gabe, is as you type select, wait for the autocomplete to turn on, and this will take only certain columns right here using select. So we go to select, and then we go and look at what column names we want. We're going to copy the column names so we don't misspell them, and we're going to put them inside of a vector. And then we're going to paste them inside of that vector. So I opened up a vector, and here's the names. Now, unfortunately, those quotes, they always somehow copy wrong. We're going to delete the and because that's not part of our code. By doing this right here, I ensure that I spell things correctly. And then I'm going to double click something, and I'm going to hit quote. I'm going to double click. I'm going to click quote. There might actually be a way. Well, I watch keyboard shortcut stuff. I try to learn more of them. But like double clicking and stuff like that. And so please notice this. Let me do this. Before, when I had my code, before when I was back here, my code ran. My code ran, which is awesome. So the code right here runs. I'm doing a bad idea by doing that. So the code, did the code not run? Code ran. And now, good. So now that my code ran, I'm going to do all of this right here, going forward in times. I can talk and do this at the same time. There we go. So quick. So that was Control Shift Z, which goes forward. Control Z goes backwards. Control Shift Z goes forward. Someone taught me that. I think it was 320 taught me that. And I was like, awesome. I'm using that from now on. So now that the code ran without this, I'm going to try the code with this. So always do your code in little bits. That's what we do. We're going to get down the soundboard. And so now we take a look. And what do we see? Subset with 13 observations and 5 variables. Gabe, that should do it, because now all we do is confirm with this right here with the dim, which stands for dimensions. And you've got it. Don't worry, that's a graphical error. Stop it. I wish it's because that's too small right there. So I wish the graphical error thing wouldn't pop up every 10 seconds. No, you're welcome. Was there another one? Gabe, you said like 5 and 3. We only spent a little bit of time on this, and this basically answers how to do all the subsetting, which we haven't talked about in class yet for either class. We will talk about probably Tuesday for at least 474. It might be Thursday for 320, because we go faster in 474. And then also, I do expect maybe in 474 for people to look more stuff up. In 320, I make sure to mention everything. I feel bad in 320. Yeah, we can do question 5, talk about that and get some work out of the way here. Okay, let's do it. And I can't promise I'll do every assignment all semester, but I'm gonna try to show how to do stuff and explain stuff. I realize once you hear it and you have someone walk you through it, it makes more sense. And if you're taking the time to watch the videos and listen and work on it and type it yourself, you're practicing, because nothing's worse than sitting there for an hour or two and being like, well, it doesn't run and I'm not learning anything and I'm wasting my time. That's not like what we like to do. Now, Brian hates when the code is down here because I want to see what I'm doing. I want you to see what I'm doing, and I want to work on it right here. This is what I want. So guess what? We're putting it right here, and you can do this. The graders should not get mad. There we go, 5A right here. We are going to print to the screen. Yep. So when we say print to the screen, you do not have to do this right here because this will put the same output as this right here. So when we say print to the screen, we literally just mean it should do that. You don't have to write print. I see a lot of people do that. It's not the end of the world. It's just an unnecessary extra step. So just a quick clarification on that. You don't have to write the print thing. But you don't get points off if you do. You shouldn't. Tell me if the graders take points. The object class or type of class for education, a command knows about, iris dataset. Yeah, cool. So class is something that tells you how R views an object. So a really great note you should have is class is going to tell us how R views an object. So let's go here to class of education. And you can see over here education exists in the data frame area. So education is a data frame. We've got here iris species. So the iris data frame, it's also a data frame. Just so you can see, we don't have MuBot on, do we? MuBot. Oh, why didn't we turn on MuBot? Chatbot. There we go. MuBot. Wake up, MuBot. Wake up. So iris is also a data frame. Let me make sure MuBot's taking its time. So iris is also a data frame, but inside of iris, we have vectors. And you get to vectors by doing the $sign. So you get to vectors by doing the $sign. And we are getting everything connected. MuBot, you awake, MuBot? How are you feeling, MuBot? How are you feeling, MuBot? Question for, I don't think that's how MuBot is feeling. Oh, that's like don't do everything Brian does. MuBot, good advice. But how are you feeling, MuBot? Feeling good, MuBot? Feeling all right? Oh, you don't want to say a quote right now? Because you said the last quote, and I see Ian has a question right here. MuBot, how you feeling? Question for describing, yeah, so it's 2-1 question, awesome. Do you literally just describe, Ian, this is a really good reference. I'm going to do that next right here, and I think, Gabe, how are you looking on this? So you got it, Ian, we're doing that next right here. How are you looking on this right here, Gabe? I think you're pretty good on this, and then I'll do question, I'll come back to these right here. So I'll come back to, and I think we did one similar during class, but Gabe, we can come back to this. I'm going to do a little 201 right now, now that we got MuBot awake. And let's talk about 201. Yep. Oh, you have to take the, is it the mean of education? What was that one? And oh, so with this right here, it's class of mean and class of mean, and I'll go back and do the other one in a moment here. And that's a function that R sees. So this tells you how R sees that object. Class is something that tells you how R sees that object. So R sees mean as a function. R sees iris $species as a factor within a data frame. It doesn't say within a data frame, but that's a factor vector within a data frame because the data frame is iris. And I can confirm that iris is a data frame by doing this. And iris is a data frame. Iris species is a factor within the data frame. Just so you can see, well, let's do this. Iris. Don't do everything I'm doing right now. So here's the data frame, looks like an Excel spreadsheet. And then this right here is a factor variable inside of the data frame. So when we were saying this right here, it's telling us that this right here is a factor variable and iris is a data frame. So this iris object right here, which is always loaded into R, it's like default R loaded in, it's an iris data frame. 201 time right here, 201. Let's talk a little bit about the 201. Great question, Ian. This is where I feel people are going to lose their points. Let's go above and beyond on this. Now, this is not in the visualization video, but let's do it during office hours. Let's do it today. Question for describing the shape. Do you literally just describe if it's skewed, symmetric, or outliers? Let's go here and put shape on the screen. So, and Ian, you're pretty much right. Let me just say that flat out. Ian, great job. 100 bonus office hour points. Ian, great job for showing up to office hours and asking a big question right there. The shape is going to have 3 key characteristics. It's going to have modality, and within modality, we have really uniform. Oh, it's so good to have people here asking questions. I love it. Unimodal, and we have multimodal. Multimodal, a lot of times we're just talking about bimodal, trimodal. Yeah, I mean, I don't really hear people say that's trimodal. Multimodal is within this right here, and let me make sure I'm not blocking it with my head. But so we really have that shape has in it modality, and we can do some drawings next to it right here. That's what I really like about this, is we can go right here and start drawing modality. And what we're talking about is these peaks. So we've got uniform, we've got unimodal, and we've got here bimodal, and we got trimodal. And multimodal just means like multiple peaks. So hopefully that's a good thing about like the shape of it. It just tells us how it looks. Like imagine we were to say how many push-ups people can do. Would that be maybe uniform or unimodal? Like let's say how many push-ups a UT student can do. Would that be unimodal or uniform? Pick between unimodal or uniform. If you think about what it would look like if it's uniform, it might mean 0 to 60, and maybe you've got 20 students. Usually put the X on the other side. You got like 20 students who can do all the same amounts. I'd say unimodal. So you think about this right here, I agree. You might have the distribution look something like this right here, where there's it might be even a little right skew. So there's more students that can do it like the 20, 30 push-ups, and then maybe got like more of a right skew. So it might be unimodal, right skew, something. I don't know. We're better than that. So I don't know. Maybe we're left skew. We can all do push-ups. So left to the low, right to the high is the next concept we're going to talk about right here. So this is kind of big. Make sure to say the modality of it. Your distribution looks blank modal. And so you want to kind of talk about that. The next big concept right here is skewness. I just said it. Skew / symmetric, or I guess like, sure, skewness. And so we have here is right to the high, left. So outliers are considered part of shape. And so outliers considered a mode, and it would be on a histogram. Remember, bar charts and pie charts are categorical. Great job, Ian. Another 100 points. Bar charts and pie charts are categorical. You can make a pie chart of your favorite bars and a bar chart of your favorite pies. Histograms kind of look like bar charts. That's where people get confused a lot of times, because the histogram kind of looks like a bar chart. Maybe someone would say it's a special case bar chart for quantitative data, but histograms are quantitative. In a bar chart, you could always move around the bars. You don't usually see them on a number line. You would see like small, medium, large for a bar chart. So maybe that's like size of fries people order, because think like people either are like a small fry or a large fry. You're like, I'll have a medium amount of fries. You're like, I want some fries, or I want fries. So I think maybe there's kind of this, separation between it. And this would actually be an ordinal categorical variable. So this would be an ordinal categorical variable. and this one would be quantitative, and that might be like how many fries do you eat when you go to McDonald's. So there might be like how many fries do you eat, and that would be a histogram. So the question, how many fries do you eat when you go to McDonald's, is a quantitative represented by a histogram, but the question, what size fry did you order, is categorical. I disappeared. Is categorical and is also ordinal because the small, medium, large has an order to it. The question, did you go to McDonald's or Burger King, would be a nominal question. Does that all make sense there? Ian, I hit you with a lot of words very quickly, like ordinal, nominal, categorical, quantitative, histogram, bar chart. So some people ask me, like, what am I supposed to know? Have definitions for all those things, understand how they're used. Test questions can be like a bar chart, and feel free to expand on anything, and I'll go into greater detail. And I'm gonna list all the things, and then we'll kind of give away some answers to the, like, this is really, I'm gonna drop some really good advice for doing the visualization. So stay tuned. We'll try to mark this in the video. I'll be a little bit busy today, but there's some good help in this video for the visualization writing portion coming up. Left to the low. So right to the high, left to the low, whatever way the tail goes. So right to the high, left to the low, whatever way the tail goes. I like to draw my little monster dude. There's the monster guy. And that's where the tail goes, right to the high, left to the low, whatever way that tail goes. Let's show that a little bit better here. Clicking the wrong things. And if it's not skewed, it is symmetric. So symmetric just means you can fold it over on itself. And so symmetric shape looks like this. It's pretty symmetric. So there's the shape right there. And we have one more thing. We have outliers and gaps. So outliers, I guess we call them unusual features. Unusual features. So we have outliers and we have gaps. And usually you see both of these kind of together. So unusual features, an outlier or outliers will look something like, you'll have data here, and this is the outlier. We'll go into more specifics about when something is an outlier. And you have the same sort of distribution, and this is the gap in the data right here. So there's what a gap is in the data, there's what an outlier is, and I'm hoping this is helping people kind of do a good review of what we've talked about today. So let's do it right here. We've got the, see, maybe, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna hop to the main screen. Now I'm over here. So we've got the, need to change the setting on this a little bit. There we go. And click here. I always move the camera a little bit whenever I get the camera going. There we go. Okay. So we got here the modality of it, and we've got here the skewness of it, and we've got here the unusual features, all this good stuff. And now we get into kind of the easier stuff. We now have, instead of shape, we have center, and the center can only be one of two things. The center can only be one of two things. The center is only, let's say mean first. And the center is either the mean or the median. And the spread is either the standard deviation or, oh no, we were so close. Oh no. I think I might just need to change these fonts a little bit. So if I change the other ones, they won't be in line with the graphics. Okay, cool. So we have everything we need to know right here, but I'm gonna do a little color coding. So let's do this. Let's color code. What will happen if I color code now? Cool. And I am now color coding what goes with what. This is a great review sheet because you'll see right here, those don't need to be colored. And let's go and make this blue. Blue, there we go. And okay. So now you have the proper measures grouped together. So take a look right here. It really deals with the skewness and unusual features. So hopefully this helps right here on the screen, Ian, that you can see that the mean and the standard deviation are paired together. That is when something is generally normal looking, unimodal and symmetric. So usually, yeah, unimodal, it's not the end of the world if something is bimodal. There we go. I'll do like go to one page view and it's gonna, no. There's like, where's the one page view? Is it down here? So close. Oh no. Okay. So right here, unimodal, oh, whoa. What have we done? Oh, no. Oh my gosh. All that work. Standard deviation, mean, symmetric. That's what happens when you do things live right there. You make a mistake. Unimodal. So I clicked the wrong thing. I meant to click unimodal. Right skew, right to the high, left to the low, whatever way the tail goes. Right. Left. How are we doing on time? We're doing great on time. Have a meeting later. You know what we've just done, as long as Brian hasn't made any errors, and feel free, you know, if I make an error and you catch it, that is big points. And Mubot will tell me about those errors. Whoa, awesome. We've got a really good cheat sheet right now. This is basically a cheat sheet for shape, center, spread with kind of some notes on it. The mean is going to be, and let's put a note next to it. Let's put right here. You got to be kidding me. What is going on? Really? Word, you okay, Word? Whoa, this Word document's acting all kinds of crazy. Okay, Word's acting crazy. That's weird. Probably need to open a new Word document. Let's try opening a new Word document. Works. Let's go back to the original Word document. Doing things live. Now it works. Cool. So with this right here, follows, let's say, used for unimodal symmetric follows skew. So with this right here, the mean is used for unimodal and symmetric data. Now the reason I write it follows the skew is because the mean is heavily influenced by skew. So the same thing applies for the standard deviation. Bring it off screen here. Used with mean, so used with mean, inflated by skew, inflated. So, use with mean. There we go. Use with mean, inflated by skew. These are just small notes right here, but the mean follows the skew. So if something's right skew, like up here, the mean will follow the skew. So when you have a right skew distribution, the mean will follow it. The mean, higher mean. So higher mean. Horrible handwriting. When you have a left skew distribution, lower mean. Now that means the mean is not a proper measure right here. Please note, especially listen, the mean is not a proper measure because those are so skewed. It's going to, you know, pull the mean in that direction. So let's go right here and say higher mean. So the mean would not be a proper measure right here. So the mean is not a good measure of the center of that distribution due to the extreme outlier. And so we'd use the median instead. And that's why I've color coded this right here. That's probably good red, blue, not red, green. And got to remember to not do red, green. And so median is going to be used for, oh, good. Got another question. Awesome, Ian. Used for skew or outliers, not affected by skew. So use with not affected by skew. No. There we go. And then put the same thing on the IQR. And let's look at the next question right here. What's the next question? I didn't mean to fish for point. No, that's all right. No. But when describing the spread with IQR, do you literally say the spread of this data can be described with the IQR? No, here, I'll don't worry, not fishing for points for it. If you ask something I can't answer, then I'll tell you I can't answer. I'll be like, I can't get that specific on it, Ian. No, but don't worry. It's a great question. Watch this. You ready? So, and obviously someone has to watch this video and walk through it and be like, okay, let's see if we understand what's going on right here. Let's talk about a really great way to answer questions. So the number one thing we need with statistics all the time is context. And you've got like an A answer there, but we're going to turn it into an A+ answer. So the spread of this data can be described by the IQR. That's excellent, which is, and then we might say 800, and it's in tickets, or it's like point something, I think, when you look at it. But it's in tickets of millions sold. So the units, put the units on there. This say right here, can be, let's change can be is best described, the spread of this data is best described by the IQR, which is the spread, so here, which is blah, 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 tickets in millions sold. This represents the range of the middle 50% of this data. Boom, A+ answer. Let's drop in the chat. There you go. So, I think I got everything correct right there. So the IQR is the range of the middle 50%. To visualize what the IQR looks like, the IQR is literally how far apart is the middle 50%. Even if you have normal data, which we don't usually use it for normal data, because we'd use the standard deviation. So let me not add confusion right here. Let me actually draw a skewed distribution like yours. It's going to be how far apart are these two numbers right here. So we should be able to kind of do a quick visualization of it in our heads. If these are how many push-ups people can do, I don't know why we're talking about that all today, but we are. Then we'd go right here, and we would say the IQR for this data set is going to be what? Does anyone know in the chat for 100 bonus office hour points, what is the IQR for this data set right here? What is the IQR for this data set? We got the min, the Q1, which is the 25th percentile, the Q3. Right there, 15. You got it, Ian. Great job. Excellent work. And so here's the median. So it's the median. My screen is... If someone encounters a genie and gets 3 wishes, please ask, say, can you give Brian nice handwriting? Can you, my teacher has really bad handwriting. Can you give him nice? They say you ask for too much. You could have asked for more wishes. We do that, but you can't ask for your teacher to get better handwriting. That's an impossible thing to ever happen. I don't know. This is what happens when you grow up using computers your whole life. You're like, I don't need to learn how to write. Learn how to write. Why am I drawing these things right here? Just kind of adding more context. I wouldn't visualize this normally, but to show the concept of the IQR is represented by the middle 50% of the data, which is going to be right here. And so that is the middle 50%. And why is that the middle 50%? Because if these are all quarters right here of the data, you have 50% of the data in the middle right there. And it also helps you practice writing out the 5-number summary. The min, that's the lowest number. The max, that's the highest number. And then you just say, how many quarters do we have here? That's Q1. How many quarters do we have here? We're up to 3 quarters. And technically, this can also be called Q2, which is the median. And you've just practiced writing out the 5-number summary right there. Just anytime you want to remember the 5-number summary, draw 4 quarters and then put the markings between it. And just remember, it gives you positions. So the 5-number summary, which we just reviewed right here, right now, gives you positions in a data frame to how much data you've gone through. And if you're wondering how this looks kind of with the concepts, let's look at the concepts right here. If we had some data and we said to people, how many slices of pizza do you want? We were doing that all yesterday because I finally got pizza. It was cauliflower crust, which was actually very good. I was shocked with, I think it had sausage, pepperoni, and mushrooms. It was one of those California Pizza Kitchen pizzas, and it was really good. So shout out to California Pizza Kitchen. If you want to sponsor us, we don't do sponsorships, but we'll take free pizza. We'll always take free pizza. It's hard to have bad pizza, but there's some people who don't want pizza. So let's do 10 numbers right here. And let's take a look at these 10 numbers right here. I didn't even realize it was cauliflower crust till I started to cook it. Yeah, dude, it's totally awesome. I agree. Like, you might be hesitant. I saw when I was walking by and I saw it. I saw pepperoni, mushroom, and I was like, yes. And then I went to cook it yesterday and I was like, oh, it's cauliflower crust. I was like, well, I hope it's good. And then we were eating. We're like, this is really good. I'll buy it again. So total accident with the cauliflower crust, which is gluten free, because wheat, all that good stuff. For I don't mind eating gluten crust, but yeah, good stuff. Like their food. Why am I doing this right here? I'm showing you where the median is at. The median is actually a number that does not exist in this data set. We asked people how many slices of pizza do they want. We got 10 total responses. The median is the middle number. Whoa. Whoa. Look at this. Oh my gosh, we've got a really good visualization going on right here. So let's go ahead with Space Pen because that's our favorite pen. Go down here and go to the min. and then the Q1 is actually right here, and the median is right here, and the Q3, oh no, I did wrong spot. There we go. That's what we're talking about. That's how we visualize data. That's how we explain a concept. So the median is a number that doesn't exist. The median is actually 2.5. 2.5 does not exist. No response with this. No response with this. So no one responded with this in our data frame. No one said 2.5. That's why I type things, not write things. And so a lot of times I will say this, we don't find, especially in our class, Q1 and Q3 by hand. We don't put that on the test a lot of times either. But if you break it apart into two data sets that are equal, which if we were to ever ask this question, it'd be like with this sort of thing where you could figure it out by hand. But in truth, I would just figure this out and jump. Let me see how R looks at it. Because I want to see, let me go. Here's the vector. Oh, don't select all that. No, I don't want what I drew. Really? See, look at that. Sometimes the computer just doesn't do what you want it to do. So let's go here and say pizza, more pizza. Nope. Vectorize that vector for me. Add in that comma, add in that sixth person who wanted that slice of pizza. There's our pizza slice. Let's go to summary and see if it gives the same results. Boom, right here, Q1. It is doing it a little bit different mathematically. There's the median. It just depends, like different programs do the IQRs different ways. Don't worry, this is the way, and that's, I think, what drives me nuts. I need to talk to my Pearson. But if you are working quiz 2, this is the way they do a 10 number one, they do an 11 number one, and I need to talk to them and say, you know, your software does it a little bit differently, and you really should have both ways it's calculated. So I've seen where it's calculated via the way we just did it, and then software also does it a little bit differently. And that drives me nuts. Very sorry about that. It drives me nuts that the software is doing it a little bit differently. And we don't find these things by hands. We just know that this, at least in my discipline, we don't find them by hand, because if we were to have a very large data frame, like here, we're going to have survey 10 $weight, and look at all these numbers. I'm not going to find the middle number here. I'm not going to find the median. I'm just going to go here and type summary, and there we go. There's the 50th percentile of weights. There's the 25th percentile of weights. It's better that I know what these things are conceptually than I know mathematically how to find them. And you'll notice that in our class, we oftentimes focus on interpretation, that the 25th percentile of weights was 130. And then weight, what is the IQR? The range of the middle 50% of weights goes from 130 to 178, and the IQR has a value of 48. We can confirm this also with code very quickly by typing RQR, put that inside there, and it's 48. How did I get that? I subtracted 178, and I subtracted off 130 from it, and that obtains us the IQR. So that, hopefully, did that help, Ian? Make sure to be just, don't worry about adding in a few extra words on your interpretation. If you think the graders are too mean, talk to me. I talked to Kenny and Kyle today. They're nice guys. I get final say on grades, though. Sorry, Kenny and Kyle. I get the final say on what grades are. I have a meeting here in 4 minutes, so I'm going to end pretty much on time. Do we want to see Stranger Things again? Do we want to see Rick and Morty again? I shouldn't show. No, you're welcome, Ian. Swing by to any of these. You can ask if you see me just rambling and doing I'm doing a random thing. And for some reason, if the chat's ever shut down, we might be on the Discord chat. Have you joined up on the Discord, Ian? If you haven't, send me an email via your UTK email, and I'll make sure you have that info. But that's what we do. And hopefully this helped. I'll try to put timestamps in this video. I might even send a reminder that I go over the interpretations. Awesome. Ian, so great having you and appreciate it. You can always as long as chat's going fine here, And then Ian, do you know, last announcement, I don't know how many people we have watching. Do we have how many people we got? 5, I'll take it. I like it. Do you know we're going to be on Twitch tonight? We're going to be on Twitch tonight. So we'll do that. And with that, we're going to end. I'll send out another announcement at that reminder. But let's end class right here. I will see everybody later. Have a great night. Have a great evening. Bye, everybody. Bye.